Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for another Journaling on a Budget video. Today we are going to make a music stamp or stamps to make a stamp that looks something like this. I had a request as to how we made this, or did we make this, which we did not. This was just a rubber stamp that I stamped on this paper. But we can very easily, well, maybe not very easily, but we can make our own. And then once you make it, it's going to last you a long time. So it's worth taking the time to do if it's something that you would like, especially if you're making some kind of a music journal. Now, we can't make it exactly the way that this one is because that would be, stealing their design. But we can make it very swooshy like this and then make our own music notes to go with it, because I've seen this kind of swooshy music, in all sorts of things. So the little swoosh is not necessarily a, like copyright as far as I would know. And, 5 lines, well, that is the way that the music is written on. So that's what we're going to do. So what I have done is I did use a little swoosh like they did. And so I have it here on a piece of cardboard. I didn't want to make it too big because you want to be able to make it fit onto a journal page or a card or something you're going to use it on. And this is almost as big as this card. And I'm going to show you how I drew it, just so that you can kind of see that and make your own. But basically you're going to just make the edge, and I don't know any of the musical terms, so you'll have to just bear with me. I'm going to just call them lines and that type of thing. And I made mine probably about 1 inch long. And then you're going to need 5 lines. Every good boy deserves fudge. That's what I was taught in school. So we're going to do 5 lines, and because we want it to be swooshy, we're just going to kind of come down. My pencil's not very sharp. I have to get the right piece of it. All right, so we'll just kind of come down and up and just give it a little curl. And then we're going to go to the bottom. I think I want this just a touch longer. And we're going to mimic this same line and kind of be even for a while. And then just kind of come up and give it a swirl. Then we're going to do the middle, because that's the easiest way to do 5 lines. So we'll just do the middle and then come up and come down in there. I got a little bit high right there. And then we'll do the top one. And then we'll do the bottom one. Just like that. And then we're going to end most of these right at this point. We'll bring the top one down, we'll bring the bottom one down and around, and the other 3 will just kind of end in there somewhere. So you get your lines drawn, and I drew mine right on the cardboard, and I did that because I didn't want to have to try and move it from something else to the cardboard. If I'm going to draw it, I might as well draw it right here. Then I know it's where I'm going to glue my my fun foam. And then I just took some fun foam, and I have some fun foam here that I've glued 2 pieces together. You don't have to do that. I like to glue 2 pieces together or get some thicker fun foam, just because it helps it stand off the paper a little bit more. 1 piece will work just fine also. And then I'm going to use tacky glue, and I'm going to use tacky glue because I think I can get a little bit of a thinner line with it than the Fabri-Tac, and it's thicker than regular Elmer's glue, so it's going to hold a little bit quicker. And I'm just going to start. After I glued these together, put them under a book and let them dry. Then you're just going to take your scissors. That's why I only have 4 lines there. Take your scissors and just cut a thin piece. I did not measure or draw lines or anything, but you can do that if you want to. To me, it doesn't matter if mine are all exactly the same width. I just want them to be close. It's organic, it's my own, and it doesn't have to be perfect for me. So I'm going to start with this top line here and just put some glue. And what I'm going to do before I even put that on there is I am going to put some glue on my other lines, maybe 2 of them. And I'm going to do that so that it can kind of start to get tacky. Now, so long as it doesn't matter if the glue squishes out underneath your fun foam, so long as it doesn't get higher than the fun foam. When you put the fun foam on there, if the glue squishes up higher than the fun foam, you're going to want to get rid of that, or it's going to, it will, when you go to stamp with it, it will show up on your paper if it's as high as or higher than the fun foam. So I'm just going to do like 2 of these lines. I'm just going to stop that one right there because that seems like a good spot. And is that about the right? Yep, that's about the right width. First I'm going to cut a little bit off because they're not exactly even. And then I'm just going to cut a piece off. And here at the top it's also not even, so I'm going to cut that. That's just where I glued it. So I'm going to take this and put it right on there. And the only thing that you want to make sure is that the height of your fun foam is always the same. So I've got this cut and it's really skinny and everything, but what I have to look at is I can tell that this is where I glued it right here. If I set it down like this, it's only going to be as tall, as thick as it would only stick off the paper that much, which is not very much at all. This is going to stick off the paper this much, the width of this. So we need to make sure that that same width is what we're putting up and down for each one of these. I hope that makes sense. So, you know, it looks like, oh, I could glue it this way. I could, but this is then going to be thinner than that. And because this is where I cut it, if I got a little thicker or thinner when I cut it, which I did, because if you look at the top, you can see, when you lay that down at this end, if I were to lay it this way, this end would be that close to your cardboard, and then this end would be a little bit further away from the cardboard because it's thicker, because my line is not exactly straight. So I want to make sure that my glued part is what goes up and down like this. And then, because this one is thicker here and thinner there, I didn't do that on purpose, but that's the way it turned out. I'm going to put the thicker end this way. Since it's trailing off, I'm going to let it get thinner at that point. Now, I want to kind of put this on an angle, and I want it to touch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut just a little bit of an angle on that. Just like that, so that when I put it on there, I want it to go like this. So I'm going to cut my angle the other way because I just cut it the wrong way. And not too much. Okay, so I just put a little angle on there so that it would fit up right against that bar. And I want it right at the top of the bar. Hold it down. And then just start pressing it in. And so I think that the tacky glue is going to work the best because with all the fiddling around, the Fabri-Tac may have dried by now, and the Elmer's glue would not, grab a hold of it. This is grabbing halfway decently. And I'm just going to push that up there and just keep kind of tapping it down, making sure that I'm keeping it up and down. It's very thin, so it may want to twist a little bit or something, so make sure you keep it straight up and down. I'm going to hold it there for a second. And so there we go. There is our first line. Now we're going to do the next one. I want to make sure here I can see that this is where the two are glued together, so I know that this is the up and down way. And I'm going to look at them and see this one is very thin, and so I might maybe want them to trail off in size towards the bottom. So I'm going to look at all 4 of the ones I have left. I have to find, okay, there's the glue. So this is the up and down side. Maybe put that one there. Yeah, this one is definitely thicker. Oh no, I was looking at the wrong side, but it still is thicker, so I think I might use this one here. There's my glue side. And, okay, so that's the order that I'm going to put them in. Okay, and I'm going to make this one also. I think hopefully I'm cutting it the right way this time. Yay, I did. Okay, and I'm just going to put that one right up there. Because we're making it like this, it's not exact. It's actually a little bit easier to do. You're not worrying if your lines are exactly straight. If these, what are going to be the actual stamping lines, you don't have to worry if they are all the same width. I'm going to cut this one off maybe right about there. No rhyme, no reason, just because that's kind of where my glue stops. And I'm not going to push it right tight up against there. It's tight right here, and it's tight here, and here it's sticking away just a little bit. And I'm going to leave it like that so you can really tell that those are two lines. Okay, and so then we'll do the glue on these last ones. Maybe I should have done the, I don't know. Yeah, the glue might have got in my way if I did it on all of them. But now I think my fun foam might get in the way down here. Oh, come on, glue. Only thing about using the tacky glue. Get some right up there. And you could actually just put the glue over your whole cardboard. The only reason I did not do that is because I want to see my lines. So if you kind of want to just do it free form, you can just put glue and then just put them down kind of in this shape without even drawing it out, because you don't have to draw it out. And then the last one. I'm going to bring some glue down around here, because I think I might want to make one swirl. All right, so this one's a little bit thicker. And again, because it's going to go at that angle, I'm going to cut it that way. Making sure that I've got the right height. Now it's so thin, it's kind of wanting to like bend over, so you have to be really careful with it. I'm going to cut this one like right in here and let it stop right in there. Just like that. I'm not doing it right. There we go. And the only thing that I want to do, the only place that I want to be just a little bit picky, is I do want to make sure after I get them all on here, I'm going to make sure that they're spaced about evenly along the bar. Okay, no, that one just fell over. Excuse me. I'm going to use my pokey tool to stand it back up again. And I don't want to get too much glue on the top. Okay, and the final one. I want to line that right up with the bottom of my bar. making sure that it stays where it's supposed to be. In here, spacing doesn't matter. It's flowing. Here is the only place that I just want to kind of make sure that they're about even. So I think I need to and I just tipped that one over and that one too. Because I moved them, I need to kind of move the bar in just a little bit because I want them to touch that. I'm going to take a little bit of this glue out of here just so I can see better. Okay, and this one, my angle that I cut is too big. I'm not going to worry about that. There will be, when I stamp, there will be a little bit of a gap there, but that is okay to me. This is handmade. It's mine. It won't be perfect because it wasn't made by some machine that does everything perfect. And there we go. So now we have our lines for our stamping. And this is going to be a layer stamp, so you have lines now you can use just like that. You don't have to have music notes with them, but now we'll make some music notes. And to do that, I am going to use the one I've already been cutting on. I'm going to take some fun foam and I'm going to use my hole punch, and I'm going to just punch some circles. I'm using my hole punch because these are going to be about the right size for that. If you wanted to make big musical notes, you know, for a stamp, you can do the same thing. Okay, I need to empty these out before they get too ruined. There we go. I'm just going to cut to the end. I don't know how many we'll use, but okay, so there we go. And then when you glue them down, you just kind of want to look at them and just look and see if there are any, you know, defects on them, and put that side on the bottom. So they all look pretty good. This one here, I don't know if you can see it, but it has a little tiny like air bubble right there from when they made the fun foam. So that will show up every time you stamp. So let's see the other side. The other side is nice and flat, so that's the side that we'll use. And then we're just going to get a piece of cardboard for that. And we'll just cut some smaller pieces because they're not going to need to be real large. And then if you have a music book, you can just look at your music book and look at the different types of notes that there are. You know, you have these notes that here are stacked. You've got just your single notes like this. You could even make one of these little, I don't know what they call them again, a little swooshy thing. And, you know, so you can just look at a music book and see the different ways that they do make some of the notes. And then you have the ones where they're connected together. And so you can just make any kind of notes that you'd like to make. Let's do this one this way. And let's put like one here and one here. Just like that. And you just want to make sure you use the same size fun foam for those dots. You don't have to for all of your different stamps. If you run out of fun foam, you can make more with a different size fun foam. But for whatever's going on, the same piece of cardboard for a stamp needs to be the same height. And I just have some of the cutoffs that I did here, so this one's crooked. I'm going to cut this one straight. And bring that right down to there. And then this one only needs to be about this tall. And that's even a little bit too tall. Oops, just let it fall over. And where's my pokey tool? I think your pokey tool will be a good friend because this stuff is so thin. Or a pencil, or a sewing pin, a needle, just anything to help you adjust a little bit. And it takes some time to do things like this. You're making an actual tool that you'll be able to use for a long time if you take care of them. And so it doesn't have to go fast. And the thing is, no matter what you're creating, right now we are creating stamps. So whether you're creating stamps or creating an artwork picture, whether you're creating a journal, whatever you're creating, you're still creating. So you don't have to go fast. You don't have to get it done really fast. Take your time, enjoy the process, and you'll do a better job with it. And then when you get to use it, it will be very rewarding to think I made that all by myself. And that one's going to be a little bit too long. I still need to take a little bit off. And it's still a little bit too long. And I might have even made these little like legs up here a little bit too long. I won't really know till I stamp it. That one looks really long, but sometimes they, let's see, it could fit on there pretty nicely. And doing these about this large, the gaps are about as big as your little punches, so they should fit nicely together. You can also make one of these that's straight, and then put, make a long straight one and put the dividers in it, just like that, so that you can stamp in each one of those measures. You can make this sign here and this one. I'm not going to say what they are because I know that I'll probably get it wrong. So let's look at making those symbols. So let's see. Now we have to remember, if we want it to go with this, we have to remember that that is the size of what we want to make. So if I make something about this size, it should fit nicely with that stamp. And so to look at this, the way that it's made is, and I've never been good at drawing these, but we're going to try. So we kind of come around, and then up, and then we come back this way and put a loop on the top, and then it comes right down through there and curls around at the bottom with a little circle. And so there it is. Okay. And I think I'm going to try it again because I'm not happy with how close I wound up to the bottom of that one. This has got tape on it, but I think the tape's far enough over I can use it. So let me try that again. So I'm going to start here, kind of curl around. And when I get to the top of here, then I'm going to go up to make a loop, come down and curl up with a circle. I'm going to look at this and look at that, and I'm going to say that's a little bit going to be, well, maybe not, because when you look at the book, it sticks above the lines and comes down below the lines. So actually, if I make it this way, that might be the right size. So that's what we'll do. And again, just cut a thin strip of your fun foam. And then I think the easiest way to start would be to start with this, start here, curl around like this. You're not making any crossings yet. You're still not making any crossings until you get right to here. When you get to here, you have to cross that line, and you will have to cut your fun foam and start again on the other side and put a piece in here and a piece in here and a piece here. But I think that that's still going to be the easiest way. You get your longest piece and you get your shape set before you have to add in these 3 little pieces. So that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to cut this off right now before I glue it so that when I cut it, I don't loosen up my glue. Now, whenever you have anything that's really delicate like this, you're going to want to let it dry before you try it. And I know that that's the hardest part to do. So you just kind of find something else that you can do for a while. And then come back to it after it's dry, because you hate to go to all this work and then you pull it apart on accident because you didn't let it dry. So you got to let it dry. Okay, so I'm going to, this is curling naturally when I cut it. It's curling like this. So I'm going to use that to my advantage for my starting point instead of trying to curl it the other way and go against that. And again, this isn't going to be perfect. But if it gets the point across and I like the way it looks, that's all that counts. Now this has a lot of curling going on. So what you probably see, I'm uncurling right here. So I'm going to pull that back down and give it a press. And just continue. Now this one is straightening up a little bit, so I'm going to pull it back out a little bit. You just want to be patient, take your time, keep it where it belongs for a little bit. Now this one being such a tight corner is definitely not going to want to hold unless you hold on to it a little bit. So I'm going to figure out what I need. And I'm going to cut it. And I like that, but there's no glue under the top part up here. So before the bottom part dries, I want this to be solid forever. I'm going to get some glue up there, because that wouldn't be good for it to not be attached up at the top. And that one definitely needs to be held in place and given a chance to kind of set up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to add a small piece right in here. Oh, it's a little bit too long. Still just a little bit too long. It's easier to do little bits, little bits, little bits than to cut too much off and have to start all over. So that one's going to go right there. I want to pull this little rounded bit down just a little bit. Give it a press and hold it there. Okay, and then I am just going to, I'm going to add this bit right in here. Right there. And you could use tweezers too for this. Now my fun foam has fallen apart where it was glued together. I'll have to do that again. So I can't use that because that will only be half as tall as the rest of this. And that happens sometimes when you glue your fun foam together. I'll turn this around, I think, because I think it'll fit up there better. Just a little bit more. Just like that. And I need one more little strip. And I'm just going to put this around here, curl it and hold it. I'm going to use this end because it's a little thicker. I'm going to cut it right here. Okay, I'm going to curl this around and hold on to it. You've got, you've got the gist of how we're doing this. I just have to put this on here. But time-wise, I need to stop right here for a second. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go through and I'll make a few more notes and let everything dry. And then I'll be back. So how many of you were there saying, don't do that, don't do that? You're doing it backwards. It turned out really nice. I'm really happy. I think it's going to stamp nice, and it's going to be backwards. Remember, with any type of letter or symbol, you have to do them backwards. Even the musical notes are going to be backwards. And I thought, well, I can use them on the bottom and do them this way. Nope, I looked in the book. It's backwards all the way around. So I am going to redo this backwards. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to let this dry because I really like the way this turned out. At least I think I do. I'm going to let it dry and stamp it. And then I am going to use the stamp as my guide to do another one backwards because I think trying to draw it backwards will be hard for me. And since I already have this done, I'm going to go ahead and let it dry, stamp it, and then do the same thing except in the opposite direction. I'll make some more notes, except, oh, you know what I can do, though? No, I can't. I was going to say I can just take the top off, but no, the lines would still be on the wrong side. So I am going to make some more notes. You know how to make them. Now, and also this one, when we stamp it, instead of swooshing down, the way that this one swooshes down, this one is going to swoosh up because it's going to go this way when you stamp it. So it's going to swoosh in an upward fashion on the paper. Now that does not bother me. I think that actually might even be more, I might like that better because it's kind of swishing up and I can put like some notes above it, like the music is kind of flying. So that I really like. That doesn't bother me at all. But these ones definitely have to be turned around. And it's a good thing I noticed just as I was finishing this one, so I didn't make a whole bunch of musical notes that wound up backwards also. So I'm going to make some more, and then I'll be back and we'll see how they stamp. Okay, I am back. Here are the 3 stamps that we made yesterday. So I wound up letting this one dry and stamping it, and it did turn out really nice as a stamp. And so I stamped it onto this piece of cardboard, and then I went ahead and made this one, instead of drawing it, I used the stamp as my guide. Now I did wind up, because I put glue on the whole thing right from the start, then I couldn't see my lines underneath. I mean, I knew where they were. I followed the lines with the glue, but I wound up getting off a little bit. So this one's a little bit skinnier, but I think it'll stamp just as well. And this one is now just the opposite of this one. So this one, and I did put an X on here so I know that this one is backwards. And I put an X on here so I knew that that one was backwards. And so now we have our forward one going this way. And then, of course, we needed some musical notes. So I made a couple more of those. They look really nice with this one, because now I have a whole set of backward notes. I don't know why I wound up doing those backwards. I had just done this one frontwards. But anyway, so now I have a whole set of nice backward stuff here. So they all have X's on them. So then I had to go through and I had to do some that after I stamp them will stamp in the right direction. So I have these 4. I just did one with some little flags and another flag, a plain one, and one that's connected. So now we have all of these, and I did also go do the base mark for the bottom of the. I even took some music, but I can't that stuff has just totally slipped my mind. But I'm going to get rid of the backwards ones. I'll put those over there, but I'm not going to completely get rid of them because at some point I may be making a journal that's backwards and I may use those because I do sometimes do silly things. So, all right, so we're going to stamp them and see how they look. And so I just grabbed an ink pad that I had that I knew was pretty juicy. And I do usually like to take the pad, to the paper, to the stamp, because then as I can kind of look at it as I'm going. Like actually I don't think I have much, not much ink right there. But yeah, it's clean on the other side. Alrighty, so we'll just put it over here just like this and give it a press. And there we go. I think that turned out really nice. So let's go ahead and put that on the paper. Let's put some ink on this one. And I haven't put handles on these yet. So just remember, as in all the other videos, go ahead and use some masking tape to put a handle on the back. It makes it so much easier for you. Now I kind of want to try and, I'm going to kind of put a mark right here. Hopefully my ink won't dry. But this is like the bottom of my symbol. And so I kind of want to just give myself an idea where that is, because I think it needs to kind of line up about with the bottom here. So just give that a press. And there we go. And I think that what I will do is trim this down a little bit so that I'm a little closer to knowing exactly where that's going to stamp. I think that turned out really well too. It doesn't look as skinny to me on the paper as it does on here. Alrighty, and then let's put a few notes on there. And then my husband, let me show you what my husband said I should do. It looked kind of cool. Let me stamp this one up again. Oh, I'm sorry. Totally out of frame here. He said I ought to make it so it's kind of like twisting. Like that. Kind of comes up and twists around and keeps on going. So I thought that was kind of neat. And then we'll put some notes on. See, I could be writing a song here. It could be like a really famous song. I wouldn't even know it. You know, somebody might use these musical notes that I'm putting down here. Oh, now we definitely want that one to kind of be up above, because otherwise the flag's lined up exactly. See, this one has the flags on it. And that's this one here, but those flags lined right up with the line so you can't see them. And then we'll do one of these. But so I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for giving me this suggestion and asking to do this, because now we have our own musical notes. And again, I do apologize for not remembering your name. As always, I wrote it down and then lost it. But there we go. And then the one thing I thought, I do want to see how this looks, because I haven't done it. But I want to see how it looks, like putting it at, like if you were going to put it at the bottom of a page. Let's see, I have another piece of paper here. I'm going to fold this like it's a page. On here. Now I might have moved it over a little bit too far. Here we go. All right, then I wanted to just kind of, I'm going to put this one on here. And then I wanted to just do these little ones like this. And of course, if you put your handle on the back, you won't be sticking your fingers in it. And also this needs to be trimmed down so that I'm not getting ink so much all over. I like that. I really like the way that that looks. So it just looks like the music is just flowing right up there. So we didn't stamp this one, so let's put this. Here's one of my sample ones of the backwards ones. But there we go. So there's our bottom one also. So I think that they turned out great. I really like the way that they turned out. And again, thank you for that suggestion, because I'm not so sure. I've thought about making musical notes. I never really thought about doing the whole thing, you know, making the lines and the beginnings, and I really like the way that that turned out. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.